Hey, what's up, guys? Locker here with another build video. This one is for the Magicka Sorcerer. I've been gone for a few days, been on vacation. Some burned pretty bad. I was actually gonna make this build before I left, but we had everything scheduled. You know, me and my fiance, we had to get there. We was already fucking late. So here's the build now, guys. Okay, so we're just gonna hop right into it. My race currently is a Dark Elf. That's not optimal. That's probably third best. Your very best race is obviously going to be a High Elf. Second, you're going to be a little more tankier as Breton. Third is Dark Elf. The reason I like Dark Elf is because, well, I've liked Dunmer since, you know, the fucking Morrowind I played on the OG Xbox. Always likes the Dunmer. Plus, they have pretty good passives. It's really good for hybrid builds. They do have the stamina max stam passive, which is really good for this build. And I'll explain why in just a moment. We are currently running Witch Mother's Brew. And we are running the Atro. You could switch this out for Serpent, whatever. This build sustains perfectly fine the way it is. All points of magic, obviously. Alright, let's go over the gear sets. As you can imagine, with the pet build, we're going to be running Necropotence. Wherever my Necropotence be, so these aren't golded out. Really don't want to waste the gold on it. It really doesn't matter. It's like less than 1% difference. The next set we're running is Shackle Breaker. The reason we're running Shackle Breaker is kind of help with our low stamina pool, as well as giving us some pretty decent stats overall. A little bit of recovery, a little bit of spell power. The monster piece I'm running is Kina. I like Kina. You could run a max piece instead and be hitting almost 50k max. Me personally, I just like having higher spell damage. But that's just me. Overall, you do a little bit more damage with the spell power one. But it's completely up to you guys. We're running 5-1-1, 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy. On the jewelry, all spell damage, as usual for my builds. Alright, so there's another variant to this, but we're just going to go over the first one here. And keep in mind, this is for 1v1s. Alright, so first skill, obviously, fragments. I'm keeping Haunting Curse on my front bar. I do not like front barring a ward on a sorc. Point being, you have 3 shields, and I find myself swapping way too often. This build doesn't necessarily have sustain issues, but it can definitely have sustain issues if you're spamming shields way too much, and that happens a lot when you front bar a ward. So I'm keeping everything on the back bar just to keep from bar swapping as often. So, with that being said, you want the, what the fuck is this? Daedric Summoning skill on both bars just for the stamina sustain. Where's it at here? There we go. Next, we're running the Familiar. This little guy is too good to pass up for your burst combo. I'll go over exactly how to hit the perfect burst combo here in just a second. Running Crushing over Force Pulse. This is 2-gun interrupts. You know, interrupts EGs. It shuts Stam Sorcs down. You could run Force Pulse. It's really just a matter of preference. Running Inner Light. Running this first variant I'm going to show you. This, you know, you can run Inner Light. If you're having sustain issues, I'll show you how you can change this up a little bit. Running Meteor on the front bar. You could switch to Dawnbreaker, but if you want to hit the big dick burst, you definitely want the Shooting Star, and I'll show you why. Back bar, 3 wards. I'm running Power Surge right now just because I like the longevity of the buff. Also, the minor heals you get from, you know, doing critical damage keeps you up and keeps you from having to use Healing Word as often, which helps with your sustain. And obviously, I'm running the Volatile Familiar in the back bar. And the back bar ultimate, you could definitely run Light's Champion. I would suggest it since this is a dueling build. So I'm putting Greater Storm Atro on the back. You could swap this out for Meteor on the back bar, Dawnbreaker on the front bar. Doesn't really matter. Notice I'm not running Streak, which is pretty atypical of what I normally run. Okay, so we went over the class, the skills. Let's go over the different variants. If you are having sustain issues, especially versus stamina builds, what you would want to do to mix this up just a little bit, you're going to be losing a little bit of damage, no big deal. You want to slot degen on your front bar. Okay. And then on your back bar, the only thing you want to mix up is you want to put dark conversion in place of your buff on the back bar. You have plenty of stamina to work with. You have great stamina recovery. 835 is damn near perfect, what you want anyway. You shouldn't be running out, especially if you're running tripods. I myself do not run tripods. I just run trash pods. I get by just fine without it. Okay, so let's put everything back the way it was here. All right, so the next thing I want to go over is your burst rotation. It's a little tricky, it's a little counterintuitive, but here's what you have to do to pull off the combo. All right, obviously have your pet summon. Okay, so what you want to do is obviously buff up. You see the buff timer right there. When this goes off, this is when you want to hit your scamp. You want to hit your scamp button, put your curse up, weave, hopefully have a proc frag. You do as soon as the curse lightens up, frag again, meteor, then it's going to stun, boom. Everything's going to hit the exact same fucking time. I wasn't weaving. The reason you want to wait until the buff is over. Okay, right now you want to start the fucking imp. You know, weave. When this is done, apply again. This is when you have your buff. Everything's going to hit right now. So everything's going to hit before the buff runs out, you know, for maximum damage output. When to activate this scamp? To be honest, you could just activate this bitch off cooldown. It catches people off guard with the AoE stun. It is blockable, but it's an 8-second cooldown. It's kind of hard to catch. You know what I'm saying? So it's just gonna randomly stun people. You know, it goes through roll dodge. You know, whatever. Okay, so build my ultimate back up here one more time. Show you the burst rotation. Okay, we got my ultimate. We're gonna wait for the internal cooldown to go off. Alright, so you have the buff up. You're going to be doing your little weave thing this whole time. When it goes off, this is when you want to hit your scamp. Curse, weave, light attack, weave. As soon as it goes off, light attack, weave again. Drop your meteor. I did it really slow, but it's okay. Everything's going to hit right before your proc wears off. And that's the extra, you know, whatever spell damage. So here's everything fully buffed. Back bar, you know, your typical 16, you know, almost 15k resistances. I didn't mention this in the gear, but as you can see, we're running infuse on the big pieces and impin on the small pieces. You can switch these out for well fitted, but I personally prefer impin. As long as you're at around 1100 to 1200 crit resistance, I think that pretty optimal for this build. Any less, you're a little squishy. Any more, you're kind of gimping yourself in damage a little bit. You could transition this build into open world build. I wouldn't really suggest it for a couple reasons. You could definitely, like I said, if you want to do this on an open world build, you could put streak on your front bar. That's fine. I wouldn't suggest running the scamp per se, just because he kind of has a mind of his own. He kind of runs off in the middle of nowhere and gets destroyed, so you're without your pet. So with that being said, I would try to run the Twilight. It's pretty good heal, and plus it stays with you. Typically, it doesn't get focused nearly as much. Okay, so let's go over the champion points. I have 51 in the Warlord, 23 in Mooncalf, 49 in Arcanist, 4 points into Tenacity, 32 points into Shadow Ward, 51 points into Tumbling. I think there's a waste of point here. That's fine. Let's see, we got 49 to Ellie Expert, 51 into Elfborn, and I got about 2k Spell Erosion into, well, Spell Erosion. 72 points to the Master of Arms. The reason I have so many points in this, pretty much every single one of your abilities is single target, aside from the Pulse from the Scamp, and the Meteor technically isn't a single target. It's an AoE, even though it has single target properties. That's a video for another day. Got 16 points into Staff Expert. We're weaving the whole time. I mean, the extra 10% actually does pay off in the end. Don't have any points in this tree. If you want to run Dawnbreaker, you could definitely put some points into Mighty. I don't really run Dawnbreaker all that much, but if you wanted to, you could toss like maybe 10% in here. I got 51 points in Ironclad. This applies to your shield. Since we're running a shit ton of shields, I really didn't put anything in the spell shield. I mean, they're not going to be hitting your health bar too much anyway. Same goes for resistance. I have 1 value point here. I have 49 points in Ellie Expert. The hardest hitting classes right now, I feel, are Magicka builds, so I would delve more into this over Hardy. And as you can imagine, the last one is Bastion. Since we do have 3 shields, we are a sorcerer. You want to put as many points as possible. If he was more tanky, if he was running something like Lightning Form, or you have like fucking 2500 crit resistance, then you could definitely take points out of Bastion and toss them, into the other fields. But since we were running, kind of average crit resistance, and we're not running Lightning Form, I feel that having more points into Bastion is better. Well, that about does it for the build. Does it for the champion points. If you have any questions, I try to keep this short as possible. Just leave them in the comments. That's fine. The PTR goes live soon, so this build may change somewhat. I don't typically do pet builds. They are really good right now. Most people will say they're completely overpowered and broken. I somewhat can agree, just because of the whole targeting factor. I mean, you can still highlight enemies, but sometimes the scamp will still intercept a lot of crucial burst damage. But that does it for the build, guys. We did hit 100 subs the other day. That's not a lot, but that was a great milestone for this channel, and I really appreciate you guys supporting me. I did throw up a Patreon. Someone asked me about in-game message about like a donation or something. I don't want donations, guys, but just for you, I mean, this channel could be a lot better. I don't have a cap card. I will be investing in one soon, so if you want to toss some donations toward that, that'd be great. I am an engineer, so I'm pretty artsy. So a cap card would be pretty great. I can do some really, really cool shit with that. I love editing. That's probably one of my favorite things to do. So like I said, if you want to toss me a few bucks for that, that would be great. If not, whatever. It's no big deal. It's not going to make me or break me. Your support's greatly appreciated anyway. But thanks for watching the video, guys. I'm gonna come up with shit, I don't know. I'm probably gonna be playing Overwatch next week, to be honest with you fellas, until the PTR drops. But like I said, if you have any questions, just message me, leave me in the comments. Try to keep the toxicity out of the comments. I noticed a few last time was kind of invasive on some people, so try to keep that out. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks, and see you guys soon.